Hello, I just had a cancellation from a client, and so I had a little space, and I wanted to come in here and see how you were doing. I also wanted to share with you a few things that have been coming up a lot with some of the clients that I've been talking to and women I've been talking to lately. I know that right now can be especially difficult for those of you who are being disconnected from your support network right now. For those of you that maybe are navigating a second pregnancy after loss, where even just going to get healthcare can feel like a risky and scary venture and add on a whole lot more anxiety to everything that you're already having to process. And I know that some of you have also talked about this really heavy discomfort and kind of suffering that comes from having all these other parts of your life slow down that might have offered you a bit of distraction or a bit of um, a change from those feelings of loss and those feelings of grief that maybe are coming up for you even stronger now. So I'd like to know, feel free to let me know if any of that resonates for you. Does that hit home for you at all? Do you identify with any of those couple of scenarios that I've been talking about? So I thought I would share with you one of the things that I was talking to with a client recently who was describing that really in this space of just so much absence, so much unknowns, so much uncertainty, that she's noticed, she thought that she was kind of a few steps further along in some of her healing process and was almost kind of surprised to see how much was really coming up for her, now that we're in this very different way of life with the coronavirus all around us. And one of the things that we talked about was how she was doing such a beautiful job of allowing herself to just process the stuff that was coming up for her, because it's kind of counterintuitive, right? It is counterintuitive for us to lean into the parts of our story and of our hearts and of our emotions that can be uncomfortable. And I know that that fear is often that if I spend time with the parts of me that are really hurting and suffering right now, that I might not be able to turn it off. So I'd love to know if that idea resonates for people, right? That if I really lean into or sit with my grief or make room for my grief, that I'm not going to be able to turn that back off. And I think we've all been there because it can feel so massive and so big that there is sometimes that fear of, if I let myself feel what I'm feeling, what if that feeling overtakes me completely? So I was so impressed with this woman who is really just honoring that this is where she was right now, right? And there's so much pressure around you to be doing all these different things and be using this time in productive ways, and so much pressure to be almost continuing to achieve in the midst of these very strange times of crisis, right? Which is kind of a bit of craziness in and of itself. And so what she was really doing was really just reminding herself, and I was helping to remind her that she's already actually got through really the worst of this, right? And so right now was just almost that time of being away from the distractions to notice just what needs your care and attention, present tense. So when all of those things that you would usually do to maybe stay busy or not feel that pain or not sit in that grief are now kind of out of reach, we could say that that's this opportunity, but it's not even an opportunity because it's really just forced upon us in some ways, that we're forced to kind of just sit with those experiences that are. And so what I would encourage you to do is see if you can approach that pain or that overwhelm with just a lot of sensitivity, a lot of compassion. Because one of the things that really happens, that I notice a lot that happens for people that tends to make this stuff so much worse, is we say, I feel really awful today. I have no energy. I don't feel okay. I'm not in a good place, but I almost feel like I shouldn't be. And so our system never actually gets to stop and rest in the midst of any of that, because it's essentially always in the midst of this tug of war of, I want to lie in bed or rest or take a break or heal. But this other part of me is saying that that's not really okay to do that. And so you neither fully rest nor fully feel okay enough to actually be okay. And this real tug of war happens. And I see this play out for people time and time again, where it's this tug of war of, here's kind of what my system is calling for right now. Here's what my grief or my pain is calling for right now, my care, my time, my attention. But we don't want to go there, right? And so we essentially just try to stay busy, turn it off, keep a distance from it. And neither one of these states becomes satisfying, right? And so, what I would encourage you to do, if this really relates to you, is see if you can find ways to just give into that time, just that little bit. So, even if that's taking out your knitting needles, or saying, I'm going to bake right now because my system finds this soothing, or I'm going to get out my art kit that I haven't touched in forever, because I'm going to almost schedule unofficially this time that I'm going to let my system process what it is processing. So that's what I want you to think about. Instead of really pulling your system back and forth between this tug of war, I'm feeling really impacted, or I'm having more grief surface for me right now, and I wish I wouldn't. So I almost want to just turn that off and run away from it, which never really works. See if you can allow yourself to just really settle into that and save your system this tug of war of neither being in a place of feeling okay or being able to rest or just process what it is that your system is trying to process and heal from. And I had shared on my Instagram recently this definition that I absolutely love of healing. Healing was really one of those words for me that almost like kind of left an awkward taste in my mouth, because it just felt a little too trite, right? Or superficial in a way. But this definition that I found was the idea that healing means a return to wholeness. And we can't let our systems return to this place of wholeness if we're kind of still wanting to outrun what it is that it's coming up for us, what it needs, what it is that is calling for our care and our attention. So see if you can give yourself just that bit of nurturing during this time, that bit of compassion, and that bit of just permission to be where you are right now. It's not always going to be this way forever. This is not always going to stay this way. Soon you're going to be able to get back out into some sunshine and into your supports and back into your community and with your friends. But for right now, see if you can almost just give a little care and attention to those parts of you that might be calling for you right now. All right. And feel free to let me know if you need support. Message me or email me. And I would just love to hear from you. What is it that you feel like you need most right now? What is it that you are dealing with right now? I know those are some of the themes that I've been hearing from a lot of women lately, but I would love to know what is coming up for you and how can I most support you during this time. All right, take care. Bye.